Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tips for Teaching Online. This series of videos is being offered to you as a public service of the American Public University System, specifically by faculty in the School of STEM. Thank you very much for joining us and continuing to watch our videos. I am Dr. Shelley Carter, and in this video, I'm going to be expanding upon the idea of labs you can conduct at home. We did have an overview video of online lab options, but that I hope you have watched. This video again will be specific to biology and the life sciences. As was mentioned in our earlier video, home experiments are a great idea. They truly can be scientifically engaging and scientifically relevant. They truly can help your students learn and investigate using the scientific method. And importantly, they can be really fun. In today's changing environment where students may find themselves at home with family, these can also be a really great fun tool for the entire family to enjoy. But importantly, we need to keep in mind that they need to be simple. They need to have very clear instructions, and they need to involve little to no materials as much as possible. Also, don't fall into the trap of thinking common household items are actually common. So for example, in one of the labs that I'm going to recommend towards the end of the video, it will call for things like isopropyl alcohol. We think that's pretty common, and normally that is something that's very easy to obtain. But right now, where people may be going out to do limited shopping, it may not be so easy. So just things to keep in mind. If we want to go the complete no tools needed, no materials needed, observations of the environment are always a great thing. Everyone is still being encouraged to go outside and exercise. So a walk in the park, a walk in a natural area, those types of things, plants, insects, animals, rocks, soil, all those can be observed. There's always the option for virtual science or museum trips. There are a number of museums and also scientific institutions that are opening up their archives for student use and educational use. And there's what we would typically call kitchen biology. And I'm going to highlight two of those in particular at the end of the video that are a lot of fun. But if you are converting to an online lab setup in place of your previous classroom, keep in mind what, again, as we've emphasized before, what do the students really need to learn? What do they really need to demonstrate? So there are complete lab options in the virtual realm. The PhET interactive simulations were mentioned previously. There are quite a few of those for biology and chemistry as well. They are very interactive, and in most of those, students can create their own experiments. They do allow for calculations, but they can be HTML based, which is good for, in some cases, might be a little labor intensive or internet intensive in other cases. Some of the older ones, however, are Java-based, which can lead to issues with some computer operating systems. There are also no ready-made lab reports. So if you do want to use one of the PhET simulations, I do recommend that you run through the entire simulation yourself and you make step-by-step directions, you ask questions, you instruct students of where to insert screenshots, for example. Publiclab.org is another online resource that focuses heavily on environmental science issues. You can find different topics there that you may have students research. In that case, again, instructions are very minimal. There are no ready-made lab reports. You will definitely want to do a little bit of investigating before you go too far into the publiclab.org options, but it is a nice repository for environmental science specifically. But if we look at biology-related simulations specifically, some great options. There are three great options highlighted here. There is the Howard Hughes Medical Institute's biointeractive option. These are largely text and video based, so students will be able to complete them. At times, again, you will need to develop questions, step through what you want the students to complete in each lab. It is important to note, especially in the case of videos, that quite a few of these are not ADA compliant. The virtual biology lab is another great learning environment with online simulations and other options specific to biology. Most of these are HTML based, and these have a heavy emphasis on ecology and evolution simulations. And then finally, if you're looking for, more packaged solutions, perhaps something that you can just walk away with, you don't need to do your own lab instructions, you don't need to do your own questions if you are not interested in doing that, is the OER Commons. That's a great place to find open educational resources, many of which can be lab simulations, home-based or true simulations. Lots of diverse topics and levels in OER Commons, but you may need to troubleshoot or streamline some of the instructions for these. Now, I just wanted to close by highlighting a few labs that I personally recommend. Isolating DNA from fruit can be a lot of fun, can be very straightforward. I did mention the isopropyl issue with these, but in general, this can be done with household items. So there's a great starting protocol for you on ASU's website you may want to take a look at. There is the availability or the option for students to identify their soil types. This requires use of some mapping programs and some basic calculations, but you may be able to step it down a little bit, step through it a little bit, but students can do this in mason jars with soil that they collect from their front yards, for example. If your students are in an urban environment, might not be such an option though, just something to keep in mind. And then if you are looking to study cellular respiration, a really great fun experiment is the sugar yeast experiment. Just uses empty water bottles, baker's yeast, balloons to capture the gas being released. You can watch it on YouTube to get an idea of how it works. Do advise from personal experience with that one though, do it in a sink because it's pretty messy. But hopefully these will give you some ideas, if not direct labs to complete yourself, some places to look to find labs. And as always, if you need any help or suggestions from us, feel free to post a comment on the video or send us an email. Thank you very much.